Hello, everybody, and welcome to this episode of the Heretic Hammer Podcast. I'm your host, Marshall, and this is my co-host, Dylan.
Hello, hello.
Well, if the uploading of this series hasn't been as chaotic as the current state of Armageddon, I don't know what is. But
it's a good analogy, isn't it?
Yeah, little pretenses aside, and small peek behind the curtain during the recording of this episode, we noticed a small snafu, which anybody who's at least been following us closely will have also noticed it too. But until then,
and thank you for doing so.
Yes,
if you have,
and thank you. But otherwise, for everyone else, we'll move on because it doesn't mean anything to you. This is the third episode of the third war for Armageddon. And so
how many years now have we been covering the war for Armageddon?
Dude, in some ways, it feels like I feel like that we have been in between all the various wars for Armageddon and doing the Armageddon content lately. Like, it has felt like an age.
Yeah,
I'm at the point where I'm very much like, God, I cannot wait to just like plan a different episode. Also, there's a part of me that's like, man, I mean, our next episode is still gonna be a Warhammer episode, but I'm like, man, I can't wait to record that kind of episode now and not talk about the war for Armageddon. We're getting into the real like slope of the war here. We're kind of in like a small kind of, or not really small, but like we're in the non-orc related part of another war for Armageddon. It's kind of like War for Armageddon, the first War for Armageddon part 2 in a way today. As we last left our last episode, we talked about the fact that Chaos had begun its incursion after the opening of the Great Rift, and thus good old World Eaters and Angron decided, it's time to go back. It's been so long since I went to Armageddon. Time to try it again.
Why not go for another round? The second time round again.
Yes. Thus, we've got nicely titled The Season of Blood.
Right. Yes, that's what we had left off with. Was the Season of Blood is upon us.
Yes. Now, some of I want to have there'll be a point where I'm just going to kind of go through a big sequence of things, and then there's kind of like a couple parts aspect to this in terms of like the way I've segmented it in my notes. Part of it is because when I started writing in the section of the Season of Blood, I didn't realize how long it was actually going to be. Like, I semi-expected it to be like.
I feel like we've gone down this road before.
Yeah. Well, a big thing was I expected it to be like the length of the Hell's Reach stuff that we did, which granted was a chunk of the episode, of that first episode for this war, but like it wasn't like crazy. But I just like started going into it and I'm like, oh no. This is law. Oh my God. So we will begin the Season of Blood now, and we will get into the finale of the third war for Armageddon. So, as we left off, there was essentially Burkant had, collapsed Hive Thoratus, and essentially led to not only the destruction of all the Imperials that would be left in Thoratus, but also all of the Chaos worshippers and Marines that remained inside. But all of this battle continued to feed the Red Angel's Gate, which was an inherent, like a leftover and important factor in a couple things from the last episode at the beginning of the Chaos Incursion, but obviously from the first war for Armageddon. All of this bloodshed caused it to swell and alerted the faraway Conqueror, the ship, to Armageddon, and the Conqueror being the ship of none other than Angron, our good old angry boy himself.
You certainly don't get the name Angron and then come in and just be like, oh, I don't know, guys. I'm just kind of having like a melancholy day.
Yeah, I mean, honestly,
doldrums.
I think if I had remembered the level of involvement that this had in the Third War for Armageddon, I probably would have, before we did our episode on, like maybe after the Black Templars episode, would have done a World Eaters episode. But
sure. Okay.
But we could always inherently do that after this. Still, I mean, there's great many things to learn about Angron and the World Eaters, as there's more to them than meets the eye.
Like Unicron.
In a way, yes. But yes, so here, essentially hearing the call of the Red Angel's Gate, the vessel plunged into the warp with a trail of accompanying forces and gathered more armies of the Blood God to its side to get to Armageddon. And as those forces of Khorne gathered in the warp, prognosticars of the Grey Knights were alerted within the Citadel of Titan. You know, big disturbances in the warp. Obviously, the Grey Knights are going to be like,
there's a blip on our holy radar.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, like our psychic radar is going off and it says bad things are happening.
What is it, Johnson? I don't know. I feel a disturbance.
I don't know. Blah! When that noise would be when the Grey Knights are awoken to the presence of Mortarion.
Oh, okay.
Just somebody in the like some psyker
reverberates.
Some psyker in the warp just suddenly goes, "Ah!" And then like the Grey Knight's like, Mortarion's around. So the prognosticators were able to contact High Marshal Helbrecht of the Black Templars and Jarl Stormcaller of the Space Wolves. And while 3 prognosticators were lost and their rituals required to commune with these Lords of War, the Imperium was warned of the encroaching threat to Armageddon. Now, as we're kind of discussing here, we're bleeding in time between parts of Theratis a bit here. So, however, they're obviously still dealing with various orcs and the standard chaos cultists that showed up due to the split in the Imperium, right? So that's kind of why they're in like it's like they're warned, but they're still like, fuck.
Yeah.
Another one, something else.
This again.
Not even again. It's just like another one. We're still dealing with these 2.
Give us a break.
And it's just a different version of that other one.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, as the Conqueror made its way towards Armageddon, cultist activity erupted even further. And through many of its remaining hives, heretic and loyalist citizens alike were subsequently purged in counterinsurgency operations launched by the Ecclesiarchy. Basically, as a good example, like entire regiments of the Armageddon Steel Legion went mad, turned upon their allies as the Red Angel's Gate just began spewing corruptive energies.
Love when they do that. Honestly.
Yeah.
If Warhammer 40k is really good at delivering on the promise of like spewing. Spewing and energy.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got that in spades.
It was into this that chaos. Oh, sorry. It was into this chaos that Logan Grimnar's Space Wolves and Helbrecht's Black Templars arrived at Armageddon. The wolves landed near High Volcanus and Armageddon Prime, wiping out throngs of mutants and cultists and restoring order amongst the remaining Imperial Guard regiments there. Meanwhile, Helbrecht and his forces landed near Hive Infernus and pushed back heretic armies besieging it. His ultimate objective was to recapture the ruins of Hive Hades and Hive Thoratus alongside the 74th Line Corps of the Death Corps of Krieg. Meanwhile, Black Templars Recruziar Gromaldus returned to Hive Hellsreach, rallying the defenders, and as these battles raged, the Grey Knights of the Fifth Brotherhood under Morvins, who is he is in that Dread Knight, like the baby carrier looking thing. The
sure. Okay.
like Grey Knight's like mech suit where they're kind of like straddled to the front. If you remember correctly.
Mm-hmm.
As they sought to identify the locus of warp energy on the world. When the Conqueror arrived, the ensuing chaos sent ripples down, or energies sent ripples down to Armageddon, as then the majority of the invaders in the northern reaches of Armageddon, Secundus, overran Hive Hades and Thoratus, erecting idols to Khorne and summoned great amounts of demons to Armageddon's surface. Because, it just can't get any easier.
Mm-hmm.
The Imperial counterattack, however, towards Hades' Hive ground to a stalemate against well-equipped cultists and traitor guard at Eumendes Bridge before World Eaters landed in the Imperial rear, unleashing attacks of Khorne berserkers across the narrow corridor, while Loyalists, unable to bring any of their heavy firepower, faced total destruction until the Black Templars had intervened. Taking thousands of casualties, the Imperials did end up having to withdraw to Hive Infernus. The barriers of real space then recoiled as a massive warp influx as a massive warp influx began to shift as Angron, demon primarch of the World Eaters, appeared on Armageddon once again through the Red Angel's Gate. So there's a few kind of aspects of as he appears here. So at High Volcanus, the Volcanus Fourth Army under Marshal Kezeron, or Field Marshal Kezeron, that's the full title, sorry, stood ready to defend the Mannheim Gap, the only navigable path through Volcanus Mountains, consisting of crack forces from the Steel Legion, Vostrian Firstborn, and Ursani Void Sharks, which had years of experience from fighting orcs and were deployed in 3 defensive layers dubbed Orientum and Meridium lines. When the World Eaters attack came, the Imperials were already in a state of partial deployment, so they hadn't fully set up, is what I gauged from that. But relief ended up coming from an unexpected source, as the heretics were met by the orcs of the equatorial jungle, who are not eager to miss out on a big fight erupting across the planet. Sometimes, man, the enemy of my enemy, but also just hey, if they're gonna stand there in the way because they're hanging out in the jungle, then you know what? I'm not gonna get into that. We're just gonna keep setting up here. So this arrival of the orcs allowed the Imperial survivors to reach the Volcanon Wall, where Logan Grimnar was informed of the desperate situation. 3 dropships of Space Wolves carrying Blood Claws and Grey Hunters were dispatched for a counterattack, engaging the Chaos forces as they battled the orcs. In the ensuing 3-way struggle, the situation became more stabilized as the Mannheim Gap held for the Imperium, and Grimnar's Wolf Scout packs continued to root out and destroy cultists and demons hidden within the Volcanus Hive. So, orc saving the day. What lads? The World Eaters, however, did rally under the bloodthirster Jules Khorne and his armies of Bloodletters and Blood Crushers, which launched repeated assaults on the outer defenses.
Remind me again the difference between a Bloodletter and a Blood Crusher.
Bloodletters, they're like the very traditional, like Satan imp looking guys. And then the Blood Crushers are the ones that are riding like the like pig dog looking guys.
Oh.
Because you got blood letters who ride blood crushers, and then are often led by bloodthirsters. So yeah, it's a little rough sometimes.
Any other Squidwards I should know about?
He's Squidward. I'm Squidward. Meow.
Meow.
I'm out of here. So the Bloodletters and Crushers launch repeated assaults on outer defenses. However, the attacks were only halted when Grimnar and his Wolf Guard launched a Thunderwolf cavalry attack that saw the Great Wolf banish the leading Bloodthirster personally with the axe Morkai. Yeah, I was saying, you know what? I didn't even have to look that far. Bloodthirster Zulkor was right there with then Bloodletter and then Blood Crusher. I was really set up for failure. Helbrecht, however, and his sword brothers began to launch a second assault on Eumendes Bridge. This time aided by a pair of warlord titans of the Legio Crucius and the Armageddon Steel Legion. Amid the bloodshed, Space Wolves battle leader Steerborn Flintai arrived via a Stormwolf gunship and landed upon the Chaos Titan's head and managed to fight their way to the reactor before planting melta bombs. The subsequent detonation consumed nearby traitor forces, but the losses amongst the Imperials were also massive. Dude, what a fucking just straight just Chad move. Like I'm gonna jump off. Like that would have been the best way to start the space. Like, in Space Marine 1, you jump out of a dropship, and you go into the Orc cruiser. Yeah, imagine you jump out of your cruiser, you land on a Chaos Titan head, and then go into it to get to a reactor and then plant your melta bombs.
Yeah.
Fighting the Scarabs and Halos got nothing on that shit. That's how they should start Space Marine 3. Something like that.
Mm-hmm.
However, with their force depleted, Helbrecht had the battered survivors withdraw towards Hive and Furnace. And in the aftermath of the disaster, Hades Hive ended up being annihilated by an orbital debris strikes. In space, they were able to successfully drive off or destroy a majority of enemy vessels, thanks to the arrival of the Grey Knight's third Brotherhood under Grand Master Uldric Voldus and Brother Captain Arvan Stern. The Grey Knight's battle barge Brightsword, meanwhile, settled into low orbit to act as a command and support vessel. Now, this is a section I really want to I like, because I don't often title my sections in the episode, but this one is just inherently special. Called section is titled Stemming the Murder Tide.
Stemming the Murder Tide.
The Murder Tide. You don't need to worry about a tidal wave. You don't need to worry about a rip tide. This is the murder tide. Don't get swept up in the murder tide. So with Angron engaging in a near mindless rampage, it ended up falling to commanders of the World Eaters warbands to actually control their forces. None were more prominent in this role than the surprisingly rational, slaughter-bound Jarek Skriel. On the coastal islands surrounding the Fire Waste, Trader Guard regiments seized prison complexes and oil refineries, providing a fresh influx of recruits and fuel. Because honestly, one of the easiest ways to get people to join the thralls of chaos is especially something like the world leaders is go to a prison, find the most violent criminals and break them out. I mean,
done and done.
Yeah. I mean, like, look, there's nothing like getting there's nothing like breaking Jack the Ripper out of prison and then also turning him into Jacked the Ripper through the power of Khorne.
All right. So that's a solid plan. What were the results then?
Yeah. So these strikes ended up having the secondary effect of drawing Imperial forces away from the northern reaches of Armageddon's Secundus, where the main thrust of the Chaos invasion was focused.
Mm-hmm.
So thus the Grey Knights under Morvins had exploited the bloody turmoil to also pursue their own agenda, which not in the case like this is not in the case of their own agenda like the sorry, what was their name? The what was their name? I'm trying to refind it. Let's see, hold on. The Relictors.
Relictors, yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
This is not like the Relictors where they like did this so that they could go on like some like, hey, we're gonna grab chaos artifacts. This was largely so that they could go into the equatorial jungle where librarian Lovric followed the psychic spoor of Angron, and by fighting through feral orcs and chaos spawns, they could try to reach Angron's primary monolith, where there they could enact a ritual of cleansing to weaken Angron's anchor on Armageddon. Because Angron is largely just, technically many demon primarchs, because like demons can't just exist in real space. They have to have an anchor. And demon primarchs can do this a little bit easier because there's still that like tiny bit of them that is still like has some mortality, right? Which is largely why chaos space marines are so valuable to the forces of the chaos gods, right?
Okay.
So, but even in the case of especially Angron, but even like any of the demon primarchs, they often still need some form of anchoring to like keep them at full strength. But by getting rid of these anchors, you can weaken them and then potentially banish them. So while they were inherently kind of doing their own agenda, it was for the greater benefit of the war as a whole, because this would get rid of Angron, which is kind of the big problem here. World Eaters are one thing. World Eaters and Angron, whole different problem.
Real bad combination.
Yeah. So during this time, Brother Captain Taros Hendron devised a method to destroy Angron's physical form, leading purgation squads in an assault on the ruins of the Diabolus Forge complex. Morvins then held a council of war as the Grey Knights Grandmaster informed the assembled warlords of the Black Templars and Space Wolves that their primary objective of the war should be to seal the Red Angel's gate, and doing so would require the assistance of all present. Grimnar and Helbrecht, despite their frequent arguing due to past grievances, would have to lead forces together to bolster this defense and buy enough time for a second force under Morvins, Princeps, Mateus Colonis, Kalonice, Colonis, Colonel Corse, Castellan Holzer, and battle leader Sturborn Flintai to strike across the boiling sea and towards the Red Angel's gate. Because the boiling sea is just the place I want to go in the summer.
It can't just be the mid-tempo sea with these guys. They can't. It's always got to be the boiling sea.
Yeah,
and the bloody.
I mean, the planet of Armageddon itself is
the
kind
seas
of
and the blood. Yeah.
I mean, let's be frank. Like the world of Armageddon itself is like,
You've said before, like, it's not great.
Yeah, it's like it is a basically fiery planet. Like, it gets these seasons where like volcanic ash spreads across the sky, completely darkening it, making it impossible to breathe. It's incredibly warm. So like, yeah, like it's it's not, the boiling sea is at least like has some sense to it as a name. But caught in a kill zone, incoming Khornate forces would be decimated, and Angron, despite his bestial state, still ended up knowing a trap when he saw one. And his Gormonger and Eightbound packs would scale mountains to the west and north to strike at their rear. Grimnar and Halbrecht were able to keep most of their Space Marines in reserve, drawing the enemy further up the slopes into pre-prepared kill zones. It was only when the momentum of the traitors' assault slowed that Angron himself descended into battle, killing dozens of Black Templars and destroying one of their dreadnoughts. Rip the homie.
Rest in peace, homie.
Guy got hit, like, put into the juice in the dreadnought, and unfortunately had to meet his end.
Well, anyway.
Yeah. Overcome by bloodlust, the Demon Primarch pursued the Space Marines, outpacing his own embattled warriors. It was then inside the kill zone that he engaged Brother Captain Angron and his bodyguards, but instead found himself in the center of a unicursal hexagram. It's a trap.
Big words.
He thought he could see a trap, but instead he didn't. I do love that. It's like earlier he's like, I'm not going to fall for that. Hey, go start creating a flank. And then they continue to move forward, and he's like, oh shit, I still got trapped.
I've managed to fall for that.
So Hendron intoned words of banishment, and the Grey Knights had fired upon Angron. It was in this that upon the 6 points of the hexagram that Hendron detonated 6 vortex warheads, basically large nukes, and the shockwave from the blasts would collapse much of the mountain range. And in the aftermath of an explosion, it became apparent that Angron had been banished at the cost of most of the Imperial forces involved in the scuffle. But we take the Imperial W's here. What's kind of funny in the case of something like Angron is that, like, you know how it's the classic thing of like no body, no kill. It's kind of like the opposite. It's like if there's no body, probably kill, because if his body's still there, that means he's not sent to the warp, which means he's definitely still alive and will get up at some point and smash your face in. It's kind of funny that way. It's like the whole adage is turned on its head with Angron. And most demons, to be fair, but now we get to move to the assault on the fireways. So while they feel that they have successfully dealt with Angron, there's inherently many forces and pillars that could easily still lead to his return. So Morvins would need to land on the southern shore of the fireways and clear the traitors there from their positions. He would be joined by not only Grey Knights but also Krieg's 74th Line Corps. They would press north, where the Imperials would soon reach Chaya Ranis mine network, which had previously been heavily fortified to resist orc attack, but now was a formidable chaos bastion. Oops, thing got turned on its head.
Oops, daisy.
Subsequent resistance proved heavy, and the Krieg forces in particular took heavy casualties, not just Traitor Guard and World Eaters, but also to just straight up normal demons and hell drakes. Those dang dragons. The Grey Knights then sought to shatter 2 key monoliths around the Red Angel's Gate, which kept it active. This would allow Morvins to conduct a banishment ritual and to seal it for good. So, for the first one, we have at the Crimson Mesa, Holzer's forces met heavy chaos defenses, but would hold out and expunge the area, later clearing it out with orbital bombardment. And it would be at the same time that Sturborn launched an attack on the southwestern monolith near the Black Lung tar pits, forgot about those, now known as the Gore Beacon. I love these names, dude.
Gore
I love
Beacon.
these names.
We're getting dangerously close to the fit I had over the orc vehicles.
Yeah, I mean, look, anything related to Khorne.
I should have been prepared. Yeah, I should have been prepared for us to sink back into this territory, especially
everything is going to be named Gore blank, Slaughter blank, Blood blank.
The season of thinned murder tides featuring Kalanice.
However, I will note this time, them being called Black Lung tar pits actually became way more of a distinctly better or more apt name in terms of how bad it felt, because the warp had corrupted the tar pits and now was a blood noxious mire that would hinder Imperial vehicles trying to pass through. So you went from tar pits, just normal tar pits, to a blood noxious mire. Just you soaked blood into the tar.
Yeah.
Disgusting. They were then set upon by Khorne berserkers under Jarek Skriel and his 8-bound. A badly wounded Flint Eye would be able to land after obviously the fight. Flint Eye would be able to land the final blow, burying his axe in Skriel's skull before succumbing to a dozen lethal injuries himself. This sacrifice, though, or through the Chaos Forces, I was reading this weird. Sorry, this sacrifice.
I genuinely thought that you had cut out. I guess
no, just my brain cut out. Basically,
I was like,
no, this sacrifice threw the Chaos Forces into disarray and allowed the Grey Knights to then complete the deactivation of ritual of the monolith and causing a titanic explosion that consumed the remaining Space Wolves and 8-bound alike. Grey Knights always got to be doing shit that causes other people to lose shit.
Always.
Come on, guys.
Can y'all not just do your business in a way that affects no one else?
Only you?
Yeah. Can y'all just chill?
And because of course, only the Grey Knights were able to teleport away in time. Man, wish the Space Wolves could do that.
How convenient.
I know. What the fuck? Eventually, though, they were able to clear the last ridge line in opposition and reach the base of the Crimson Mesa, where the Red Angel's Gate lie. They were now met by more demonic hordes, and it was then that Morvins and his Grey Knights plunged right into the heart of the battle to continue push forward. As Morvins and his 2 supporting Dread Knights cleared the hordes of demons, Librarian Torvik and 8 paladins made their move on the Red Angel's Gate itself.
Mm-hmm.
Upon reaching the gate, each of the paladins held up a captured shard of Angron's old weapon, the Black Blade. This produced the arcane foci that allowed Torvik to begin sealing the portal itself. All 9 of the Grey Knights pooled their psychic might together, beginning the ritual of sealing. However, while they were just about to succeed, they started to feel a push through the gate. As suddenly, Angron's mighty form returned once more through the portal and brought with him a wave of warp madness and bloodlust.
Neat.
Yes. Unfortunately, this would throw a number of the mortal Imperial forces into disarray, and rallying the remaining cultists and various war bands would also be drawn to the battlefield, as many of the maddened Krieg guardsmen began to turn upon their allies. The Space Wolves and Black Templars aimed to hold back the incoming tide of Khornate forces, leaving the Grey Knights to face Angron alone. Alone. In the subsequent battle against Angron and the newly arrived demon forces, the 8 paladins concentrated as one to unleash a ritual of exorcism, as Morvins sought to hold off the demon Primarch. However, Angron was able to reach the paladins first, killing 6 of them, as Morvins and 2 more Dread Knights piloted by brothers Vorin and Khorne had arrived. The trio of Dread Knights sought to buy enough time for the remaining paladins to complete their task. In the battle against protecting the Dread Knights, Angron was able to down Khorne and cripple Vorin. Morvins then drew upon his own psychic might and charged forward, crashing into Angron and then engaging in a furious battle. The paladins were able to complete their ritual, having snatched up the 8 shards of Angron's black blade, and a great vacuum effect erupted from the Rain Angel's gate. Angron had only fallen fully back into the gate, thanks to Morvin's gathering the last of his strength to push both of them through together. Basically, just speared him into the gate, and Morvin's sacrifice allowed Angron to be banished once more, and the gate to be quickly shut behind him. Rip the homie. I mean,
once again, rip the homie.
You know what? At least this time, the solution did actually, in fact, only affect the Grey Knight.
A rare instance.
However, the sacrifice of Morvins and the other Imperials at the Fire Waste turned the tide of the renewed Chaos Offensive on Armageddon, and though fighting against remaining heretic elements basically continues, to the next war, truly an end to Armageddon's suffering is nowhere in sight. As we know, eventually Gaz begins forming up a call for a speed war, as we will soon begin learning more and more about the 4th war for Armageddon.
It's incredible how Gaz just keeps coming back for more.
Yeah. In
just
this
keeps
case,
showing back up.
Yes. Though in this case, from what I believe and what I recall from like when I was at like the preview show in Adepticon and stuff for the announcement of all this, part of it is I think that the Speedwa is being ran by a different like a different orc leader. Let me try to get his name here so I can double check that. Yeah. Let's see. It was this one being laid by, where are you?
And
Give
I'm so
me
sorry.
name. Oh yeah, Speed Boss Wazdaka Gutsmack.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's actually a long-standing character. I mean, he's kind of been the leader of the Evil Sons in many ways, and like the cult of speed for a long time. But he got a new mini and everything with the new edition and all that. So I believe he is kind of. This is just from my belief. I haven't looked yet into enough with the 4th War for Armageddon, because I don't know that they're necessarily like fully done with the current like timeline thing. So we're kind of waiting to see how this goes, because since it's a big part of like the launch for 11th edition. It's kind of going to be until we get like a new narrative book or something that we'll kind of maybe see how, maybe get a conclusion of some kind. But at least, by going through these episodes, you're ready to start learning yourself about how the Fourth War for Armageddon is going by, getting into 11th edition and or just like reading the various books that come out with 11th edition right now. So there's plenty to come with the Fourth War for Armageddon, but it will be for us a little bit from now. We're gonna give it some time because
let it sit, let it cook.
Oh man, yeah, it's been a lot. We've done a lot of Armageddon. But anything else you'd like to know about the Third War for Armageddon?
No, it is truly, so far, it is living up to the hype and then some. The sheer amount of people, I put that in like parentheses, people involved, and very creative names, very fun battles. That's been great.
Yeah, I mean
I can't wait to find out more blood friends, more of the blood gang.
Yeah, I mean, as far as I'm like looking at some preemptive things with the Fourth War for Armageddon, it kind of feels as though that so far it still is only just orcs and Imperium right now. So like, at least as far as it currently stands, it's like if there's I mean, there's still gonna be like chaos things hanging around, right? Because just from the sense of like, the fact that like, the once chaos is there are going to be cultists. There's going to be a worm tongue, essentially, for there's going to be kind of like a worm tongue sitting there, right? Now, one thing that I wanted to note from me looking at the Lexiconum, and I don't, this was a scenario of like, I don't know what enough I could get out of this to put anything well enough into the website, right? But they're on like in the various, like when you look at like the Third War for Armageddon, and you see like, there is like this, the who are the combatants and whatnot. Necrons are brought up.
Right. And we, not too long ago, had talked a little bit about their dynasties.
Yeah. But like, what's weird about it is apparently referenced in both a White Dwarf, White Dwarf 271. This is from August of 2002. And a really old web page.
I love old web pages.
Oh yeah, like when you click on the source,
Speak in my language.
Again, the nice part about something like about Lexicon is that everything is sourced, right? Which is why sometimes they're able to say, yeah, this comes from this book, this comes from that book. Like for example, I can tell you from a number of things, right? Some of the big novels that the information comes from in this book are The Conquest of Armageddon and a novella called Angron's Monolith. But then also there's a bunch of stuff just from the actual like various, Crusade lore books / codexes. In this, they have apparently like, they have a note for the Necrons. One of them is Third War for Armageddon website, Equatorial Jungle. Archive page last access via Wayback Machine in the 1st of November 2020. Which is crazy.
Yeah, it's already 6 years ago.
Yeah. The thing about it though is like when you actually go to it, when you actually go to it, aren't able to necessarily see anything on that web page about not necessarily able to see anything about the supposed Necron pyramid that's in stasis. But I'm wondering if that'll come up. Like, is there truly this supposed point where there is, in fact, that are we going to learn somehow or something that, like, no, actually, Armageddon is also actually a tomb world?
Oh.
The thing about that, though, is because these sources are quite old, I don't know that that'll stand the test of time. And that might just be like, because I don't know what it said in the White Dwarf either, because I mean, it might be available through Warhammer Plus because a number of White Dwarfs are available through that. But, again, so long ago, in that time, between then and now, there has been greater lore from even the background of Armageddon that wasn't true then, right? And who knows if maybe in the back of the mind of GW that was always the belief, the lore secret that's involved with the War of the Beast. But the like that fact, like that secret of the War of the Beast is like, I feel like would really put a damper on the idea that Armageddon's also a tomb world idea.
Mm-hmm.
Because like, I feel like it would cause problems with what ends up happening for how Armageddon came to be as it is,
Yeah, certainly.
Yeah, so hard to say. But either way, all of that is inherently for future problems and questions. But Armageddon still getting fucked up. And it's getting blasted by all sides. But that'll do it for this episode. Next week we will head into a more normal / like kind of fun random thing of Warhammer factoids. Maybe we'll find something that isn't Imperium related, so I can have a good break from something that isn't Imperium related. Otherwise, until then, we will see you guys next week.
Goodbye.